Hi everyone. I've chosen to do my 3-session learning unit on Shabbat. My target audience is going to be for young children, pre-K, K, first grade. This would take place in a conservative Jewish religious school setting, but it also could take place in a Reform school setting as well, maybe with a few modifications. The unit would take place over 3 consecutive weeks, which would be 2 hours in each week or session, with the children learning about the Friday night rituals and traditions of Shabbat. The enduring understandings are that Shabbat is a gift given to us by God that we are to celebrate. By celebrating with our families, we give a moment of pause in this crazy, insane, busy world that we live in, that we find ourselves in. My rationale behind this is get them while they're young. In other words, make a habit of this before all the Friday night football games, sports practices, music practice, social activities, etc. Or to put this in a Jewish context from Proverbs 22:6, train a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not turn from it. In other words, what we want to do is we want to establish roots when they're young, give them a solid, concrete foundation so that they have that solid foundation to take with them for the rest of their lives, and hopefully the learning is there. In order to accomplish this, I've set out 3 lesson plans. The first week will be an intro to Shabbat with learning where it comes from, why we celebrate, what we celebrate with, all the symbols and blessings. In the second lesson in week 2, it would be a review, of course, of what we've learned about Shabbat, and then reinforcing through the experiential. I'll also be doing some of that in the first week because I feel so strongly it's proven that, if you experience things, learning, the experience of learning and doing cements the actual learning in place. So I love to do experiential learning. But in the second week, we would be doing centers with crafts related to Shabbat. We would be making candle holders and Kiddush cups to be used and kept in the class for the third week's activities. And in the third week, the lesson plan would be a family education day. The first hour, the parents would be with the educator learning about why Shabbat is so important, using quotes from Heschel and Cardin, and also learning the basics like their children are learning, and packing them up kind of with a to-go box so that they can. Ultimately, our goal is to have them practice Shabbat at home and really make it not so scary, and that it's easy to do, and here are the essentials, and here's what we're giving you, the why, the what, where, when, how, and here you go. The children, while the parents are learning with the educator, the children are in their classroom for the first hour. They'll be doing a review, of course, of the blessings and the songs, and then they're going to set up for their very special second hour. The second hour, both the parents and children will come together, and they will do they'll do the blessings and the songs, but first they're going to make a family challah cover, and I thought that would be a nice activity, a keepsake to keep for Shabbat that they could bring out every Shabbat. So everything we're doing and making over those 2 or 3 weeks is part of that box, that kit to take home with them to do Shabbat at home. And then finally, in lesson 3, they would do a mock Shabbat. We would have the challah and the juice, and then have a little snack. And that would be culminate in sending all the information home with them. And then they've experienced it. I'm now going to walk all of you through my first lesson plan. The objective of lesson plan 1 for the first week, the objective and essential questions that I'm hoping to convey are: 1, why do we celebrate Shabbat? 2, what are the basics for celebrating Shabbat on a Friday evening with our families? 3, what is the symbolism behind the candles, wine, and challah, and also learning the blessings and what they mean? And finally, what way does celebrating Shabbat together make us feel closer to God? I chose to present this first lesson plan to all of you so you can not only get a flavor of what I'm envisioning, but also to help me gauge how well this will flow. Should I include more activities, fewer activities? Am I trying to accomplish too much? Am I accomplishing too little? I haven't actually taught in the classroom for several years. I've been on the other end in the administration, administrating the school. So I welcome your feedback and thank you. Here we go. Good morning, children. Good morning, Yeladim. Good morning, Boker Tov. Let's start out our day we're going to sit in a circle on the floor. Okay, so now we're sitting. Let's pretend like we're sitting. Remember when we all talked about how God created the world? For the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about creation, the story in the Torah, about creation and how God creates the world. What I'd like to do is to review this, but you don't need to hear my voice going blah, 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 here we go again. What I want you guys to do is something really fun. We are going to act out the creation story. And what I want is I'm going to give each of you guys a part in the creation story. Like someone will be darkness, and how would you play darkness? Well, maybe you'll be like, I'm dark and cloudy and gray and it's dark. And then the light could be, whoa, I'm light, I'm bright. Of course, the animals, you guys know how to act out, the fishies, the water, swimming in the water. But I'll let you guys be creative, and if you don't like your part, no worries, please. This is like a 2-second part. And this is just for us to review so you don't just hear my voice. So while I say the story, you guys are going to be acting it out, and we're going to have some fun with this. So I'm assigning each child a part: the water, the heavens, the fish, the trees, etc., the sun, moon, people. So on the first day, there was all darkness. It was all dark, and God created light. Yes, okay, so then they'll each get up and play their part. And then we go all the way through the first 6 days of creation. And on the 7th day, boys and girls, God saw that it was all good. Wow. God worked so hard. Can you imagine? First you brighten up the world and you make the heaven and the earth and the fishies and the water and the birds and the animals. So, phew, I'm just exhausted saying that. So, what does God do on the 7th day? Yes, Evan. Right, God rests. So what God wants us to do is God created us people in God's image. And so on the 7th day, it is very important that like God rested, so do we rest. It's been a long week. You guys go to school, your parents go to work, some of them. It's just a really busy, crazy week that we all go through every week. So on Shabbat, come Friday night, because all Jewish holidays start the night before, and Saturday we celebrate Shabbat. And Shabbat, the word Shabbat is a Hebrew word. It's Hebrew, the English word is Sabbath, and it means to rest. So Shabbat is really all about resting. So let's go ahead and pretend to rest, all of you guys. Shh. Okay, so we're resting on the 7th day. Okay, everybody wake up and give yourselves a round of applause. Great job. You guys all did so fabulous on your acting. But now we're going to move on. So we all know about our creation story. We know about the 7th day God rested. So we're going to talk about that very last day. That's the special day when God rested. By giving us this day, it's so special. So in this way, when we are acting like God by resting, that we can feel God's presence around us because we're acting like God, so it makes us feel closer to God. And by celebrating Shabbat with our friends and family, this is a way that you can feel closer to God too. And it's also really good for us just to calm down and have a nice dinner together, and we'll talk about all the things that we're going to do on Shabbat. Now I have a very special book to bring out, to read to you, to introduce you to Shabbat. Now many of you know about Shabbat, some of you don't, and that's okay. So we're bringing out our very special friend, Sammy Spider. Remember Sammy Spider? That's right, we talked about him at Rosh Hashanah, we talked about him at Sukkot, and here Sammy Spider is again. And I'm going to read to you Sammy Spider's first Shabbat. We're going to love this. Okay, so there's not enough time because I don't want to take up 20-30 minutes of your time. But just envision me reading this, Sammy Spider. There's also a really cool book. It's called It's Challah Time, and it's just really cute because it goes through how to make challah, and then they're in the classroom setting, and they talk about Shabbat. They read about Shabbat. They have the cantor come in and sing Shabbat songs. They set up a mock table, kind of everything that we're going to do. So I thought this was another cool book that I just wanted to show you guys. And if I have time in the lesson plan, I'll read the second book. So now we're done reading our books. Everybody stand up. We're going to stretch, and we're going to sing Bim Bam. It's a very special song for Shabbat, and there are only 4 words. Bim Bam Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom is Shabbat is the day of rest, Shalom is peace, so we're going to sing about a peaceful Shabbat, and then I'll teach them that song and we'll sing it, and I won't torture you guys with my awful singing. So many of you are so talented out there that I've heard this semester. It's just, you guys have beautiful voices, and I do not, no talent there. But anyway, of course I would do it with the kids, so they don't care. I mean, well, they do, but anyway, so Bim Bam, Shabbat Shalom, and Hine Matov, and I have the lyrics in the attachment that I sent. Okay, so boys and girls, we're all done stretching. We've sung our songs. They're beautiful. You guys did a marvelous job. So let's all come have a seat in the circle again. And I wanted to show you some very special items that I brought to show you. I have a show and tell for you guys. First of all, I brought Shabbat candles and different types of Shabbat candle sticks, or candle holders, where we put the Shabbat candles in and we light the Shabbat candles, and we're going to do that. And then I brought in Kiddush cups, different types. There's a silver, there's a ceramic one, and this is for blessing the wine or the juice. And so those are the Kiddush cups. And, I also wanted to show you a couple different candlesticks. These are special candles that I got when I was in Israel in Shabbat in a candle factory, and I use these more for decorations, but if I had bought more, then we could use those on Shabbat, certainly. I just wanted to show you that there's all different kinds of Shabbat candlestick holders, and these are some little ones that I also bought in Israel, little pomegranate ones, and that's for Shabbat as well. So we have all of these items, and then what I'll have the kids do is we'll discuss the blessings. A lot of them are familiar with the Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, and then go through all the blessings, what they mean. That's in the handout. Lighting the Shabbat candles, we'll discuss remembering that the first thing God created was light out of darkness, and so God created light, and we're celebrating that we have light and how important it is for light, and it is the candles. When we light the candles, that ushers in Shabbat. We'll bless the wine and the grape juice, bless the fruit. We're making it holy, or this is a special day. And then, of course, challah, and they will be familiar with the blessing over the challah because we sing it for the hamotzi before we have a snack. So I'll say, we're familiar with this before snacks. We always sing this, is thanking God for the bread and the grains from the earth. So we sing it for any snack, but it's really for our challah on Shabbat. That's when it's a really special prayer. So we'll go through all those prayers. Okay, now everybody, let's all get up, and we're going to have our real snack. But before, let's pretend like it's Shabbat. We're going to bring these over to our table where we're going to have our snack. We're going to have challah, we're going to have grape juice, and we're going to pretend like it is Shabbat. So we'll say our blessings that we just practiced before we have our snack. So we'll light the candles, we'll say the blessing, we will say the Kiddush, we will say the blessing over our juice, and then we will say the blessing over our challah, and then we'll eat, and we'll pretend it's Shabbat. So they will have their snack, and And then the final activity for the day will be Shabbat worksheets that I also sent to all of you as an attachment. There would be some coloring. This is another form. So we did the acting, we read a book, we sang songs, we did the learning aspect about the blessings and more about Shabbat. And then we had our snack, and so our tummies are full. And so now we're going to have a more active activity and coloring. It's just using a different part of their brain. So, of course, if the school meets on Saturdays and it's a Shabbat school, especially in a conservative or Orthodox congregation, then they could not color or cut and paste. So then in that case, we would probably go over the worksheets a little bit, and they would be sent home in that big package deal that I'm sending home for Shabbat. I really like well, I'm going to assume for our purposes that the school's either on a Sunday or midweek that they're meeting to do this. So they'll do the worksheets. I'm thinking about sending the first two worksheets home. The first one was this one. I'm not sure if you can see this. It has some writing, and then the challah as well. I like this because this worksheet, it says the Torah tells us to remember and to observe Shabbat. So, so it is a chor v'shamor. So to remember and to observe, and so I thought that would be a nice way to reinforce that at home. But I'm kind of thinking about that. And then there's a nice decorating a challah cover, and we're going to be doing that as an activity on the third week. So maybe they could do this at home and reinforce that. The other worksheets are just some really fun ones. There's a coloring one. There's one of a blank Shabbat table, so they can color and put. It reinforces that we learned about the candlesticks and the challah and the juice. There's also a cut and paste. They could also cut and paste that as well, the different items with the Hebrew words. There's some matching ones, so age appropriate. They're doing matching pre-KK, not so much first grade. That might be a little bit below them at that point. But there's just some fun worksheets that I pulled up that I've used in the past. So that would be the last activity of the day. And then, so back to the kids. Okay, kids, it's time to clean up. We've done some great worksheets. You guys get to take those home, but we're going to leave our the books in the room. And after we clean up, we're going to sing our goodbye song. We're going to sing Shalom Chaverim. So all the kids clean up and they sing Shalom Chaverim. I will pass out a take-home packet that has the Shabbat blessings so that they can practice these at home and get familiar with them. Of course, I'll probably send home a letter to the parents introducing the unit and inviting them for that third week, so they have that on their calendars as well. I'd also like to send home a CD if the synagogue has one available. If they don't, then I'm going to post some links in that take-home packet on YouTube or somewhere else, so that the parents can use that as a tool if they want to hear how the blessings are sung or chanted. And so that concludes lesson 1 very quickly in a nutshell. I thank you guys so much for listening and look forward to some good feedback, and any help you can pass along would be great. It's been so wonderful working with all of you this semester. It's been a lot of fun getting to know some of you and just through our writing. So thank you. Take care.